Hi, and welcome to the extended video on Jmix BPM, a powerful addition to the Jmix platform that brings low-code capabilities directly into your Jmix application. Jmix BPM plays on the same ground as modern low-code BPM platforms, enabling both developers and power users to model and adjust business process visually. But unlike low-code BPM platforms, Jmix gives you the full power of an open-source, production-ready development stack, so your workflows don't get stuck at the prototype stage. In the video, we'll show how to model and run a real-world lead qualification process. You'll see how to develop a business process combining user tasks, business rules, gateways, and data persistence, all built and configured inside the Jmix application. Let's go into it and see how it works.
Awesome intro, Victor. Thanks a lot. Working with customers does matter, and for this demo we will be going through a minimal lead qualification process. Here I've set up a simple Jmix app with test data and users, and the process. First, let's look at what the process looks like for participants, and then we'll see how it was configured. So the process begins when someone shows interest in our products. That person is Ron. He's our lead, which means he's someone we really want to turn into a customer. But for now, Ron is just leaving a request to buy some of our products and sharing his contact info. He clicks the button starting the process, and the request now goes to a sales manager. Well, let's go ahead and log in as our sales manager, Peter. To qualify the lead, Peter needs to determine the size of the company and estimate the budget they are willing to spend for our products. Next, to pick someone to contact the lead, I'm using a decision table. I've created one that picks someone to contact a company based on its size. The company we received a request from is large, with a budget over $10,000, so Sam will take care of it. Let's log in on his behalf. On this step, Sam gets in touch with the lead and perhaps adds some notes before finishing the process. Lastly, I'll just make sure that the lead information was saved to the database. It's right here in the leads view. Now let's get to know how to make a process become a part of the Jmix application. Most of the time, you'll have a process diagram that you want to implement. If you're familiar with the notation, this is likely what you had in mind as we were going through the demo. Here's a user task, then a business rule task that calls the decision table, an entity data task to persist process data, and another user task. Together we followed a so-called happy path. But here's a different outcome. It takes place when a manager marks an incoming request as spam. Anyway, the diagram is just the start. What's really cool about Jmix is that it puts your diagram inside the modeler and provides the tools to integrate it into this very same application. To show you what I mean here, let me create the dialog that corresponds to the start event. As you might remember, it has 3 input fields for a potential customer to fill out, so I'll just add them one by one. And that's it. I can now move on to the next element, which is pretty much the same dialog, but with some non-editable fields and 2 extra parameters. The configuration process is basically the same, so we can move through it quickly. What's different is that I need to add 2 buttons for the outcomes. And I also need to assign Peter to handle this task. The user task is followed by the gateway. There's nothing on it to configure. The logic is all on the outgoing flows. For this flow, the outcome is spam, which is what triggers when Peter clicks the spam button. And for the other flow, let's set it as the default one. That way, unless we got spam, the process just automatically follows this path. Next up is the business rule task. This task is the way you can call a decision table inside a BPM process. In Jmix, you can configure a decision table on a dedicated view. Once configured, you can link it to your task by its key. Next, we have the entity data task. As the name suggests, this task will create a new entity to store information about leads in the database. For each piece of information we've gathered about our lead, I will create an entity attribute, just like so. This is to ensure that all information is neatly organized and easily accessible. The process concludes with another user task. This time, instead of a dialog, I'll use a fully featured Jmix view that I've created myself. This option lets me create any kind of complex form while following a familiar approach to creating them. Plus, with a Jmix view, I don't have to manually specify all the parameters and outputs, as they can be included in the view declaration. To complete the setup, I'll assign the performer for this task based on the decision table. And alright, the process is now set up. The final step is to deploy it, upon which you'll see it in the list of process definitions. This view enables an admin to view and start any definition manually. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this demo insightful.
Thank you for watching this walkthrough of Jmix BPM. With Jmix, you get a single environment for process modeling, development, testing, deployment, and long-term support. No switching tools, no extra integrations. This streamlined approach shortens delivery time, reduces errors, and keeps your team focused on solving real business problems, not stitching platforms together. And with per developer licensing in zero end-user fees, Jmix BPM is a perfect fit for back-end-centric team building scalable, maintainable business process automation, whether you're inside software companies or enterprise IT departments. Develop smart, not hard with Jmix.